Oh my gosh, really? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, welcome to our show. I'm the goddess of radical self-love. And this is MECA, Make Everyone Count Always. We are a support network for radical self-love and self-care with focused attention on our community's most vulnerable. Yes, that's what we do here. We support those who need the support, right? So our community's most vulnerable, care receivers, and those who care for them, caregivers. When our community's most vulnerable feel supported and valued, we all can rest assured we are supported and valued as well. Yes? Yes, 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 yes. Sorry about that. I had to do something. So, yes, thank you all to our new subscribers. Thank you for helping build our family with our likes, comments, shares, and subscriptions and donations. Yes, they help so much so we can reach so many more who need radical self-love in their life, right? To walk your own path, to follow your dreams, passions, goals, and desires, and leave behind, walk and roll away from fear, doubt, and worry, right? Yes. Yes. Today is Self-Transcendence Thursday, and we will be working with my boyfriend, Maslow. It's my favorite. Well, Freaky Friday is my favorite, but anytime I get to work with Maslow is my favorite. Anytime I get to be here with you is my favorite. So, to begin, we pulled, I already pulled it for us, Petro Legba La Flambeau keeps coming out, and as well as my dancer card, but those two always want to come out and play with me. So I drew again, and we got Santeria, Earth, Yamaya. Let's see. Birth. Birthing of new ideas. See the water that she's standing in? Our healing element that brings life. So, Great Mother, Our Lady of the Seas, strong mistress of sorcery and ocean storm, Your feet trail softly over mist-drenched shores. Yemaya is the power, the beauty, and the bounty of the oceans and all seawater. She is the tender mother who reaches out to protect her children. In her is found a distillation of the force of the mother. She gives life, and thus she can take life. Yet she is forgiving, slow to punish even the worst neglect or abuse of her bounty. The card shows Yemaya as a beautiful pregnant Orisha standing in the foaming sea. She is about to give birth. The primary attributes of this card are fertility and bounty. Contemplation for the day. Honey flows freely from Our Lady's gracious bounty. In divination, pregnant with idea or child, abundance gain, a bequest of parental bounty. Yes, our seeds that we sow, right, on Master Manifestation Magic Mondays, our intentions, or that we have sown all year or for years. The bounty is about to come in and spring forth new life from our creative, conscious creations. Yes, thank you, Yemaya. Thank you, Orishas. That can definitely help me today with a few things that I was going through. I am very, very sensitive to energies. So I have to do a better job, I think, at protecting myself, to be honest, after today. So it just, sometimes things hit me so hard, and I know it's because I analyze. But it's only for, self-preservance, I suppose. But sometimes it's like when a mother is giving, or a friend, or a father, or whoever, right? And somebody just keeps taking and taking and taking without even considering what they're doing to the giver. And it can be your closest friend or your child or your employer and employee, it's like, enough is enough. Boundaries. That's what I have to discuss now. And I would rather not have to discuss them at times because I do not like any type of I'd sooner just walk away, walk and roll away Wednesday. But I realize I have things to learn from dealing with situations that I'm not always so thrilled about. It's part of, sorry, had to fix, it's still not right. Well, obviously it's part of being an adult, but obviously when you're in a position as I am with a business, then, you have to be able to deal with things as they arise. Whether or not you want to deal with them or not, you need to. So, you can't just sweep it under the carpet or rug or whatever that stupid saying is. So, I need to do some meditation and clear and cleanse for sure. So anybody else who wants to do with me after this, we will be, yes, doing some meditation later, for sure. So we are on towards the psychology of being, right? In order to ascend our motivational map, which can be found on our Patreon grid. If you want to click the description, yes, below where the little arrow is. It will come up with the Patreon thingamajiggy, and you just touch it, and it will bring you to the Patreon. And there you will find your master manifestational map or care plan. So you can go through the map, which we talk about some of the things in here, and all you do is grade yourself, and you will know whether or not you need to work on certain things in order to transcend up. So it's kind of like Tetris. When you get rid of one on a 1 through 5, like 0, 1 through 5, whatever, then other ones drop down to replace it. So it's a hierarchy grid, but you may have some of the ones in the above section, above physiological needs, safety, security, community and belonging, esteem needs, radical self-love. I added communications, which is our Freaky Friday, right? Creative outputs, conscious creations, right? Our communication of expression of who we are, our self-actualization in our third eye, right? So those kind of meet, and self-transcendence all the way up to the top. Yeah, I needed to do that so I can get more messages, I guess. Help me! Yeah. They are helping. Thank goodness I am not alone, and I have this army all around me supporting, and so do you. So as we go through the master manifestational map or care plan, you will start to open more gateways to higher dimensions and higher thinking. Yes. So we are starting at, yes, here we go. Furthermore, in this book are described also the limitations imposed upon the definition by unavoidable shortcomings in sampling and the availability of data. So as I'm going through this, I will bring in my own understandings, which do involve an education in psychology. However, it's more, and the human body as well, but it's, to be honest, like that did help a lot to introduce me to a lot of these concepts. However, I would say it's more about my personal experience through going through lots of trials and tribulations in life. So moving on. Yes. One major difficulty with this conception, as so far presented, is its somewhat static character. Self-actualization, since I have found self-actualization, right? Being your full, authentic self, right? Being able to follow your dreams, passion, goals, and desires is definitely self-actualization. Follow them, not just think about them, right? Since I have found it only in older people, tends to be seen as an ultimate or final state of affairs, a far goal rather than a dynamic process, active throughout life, being rather than becoming, being rather than becoming. So older people meaning like finally we're in a state of beingness. Because you're not maybe on that ladder of success and wanting and fulfilling your deficiency needs. So we'll talk more about it. Don't worry. And I also wanted to say the more you've gone through, as in trials and tribulations in your life, and maybe have a bigger picture view of the world because of such, can lead you to this state sooner than later, possibly. If you finally get to a final state of acceptance and understanding. So, if we define growth as the various processes which bring the person towards ultimate self-actualization, then this conforms better with the observed fact that it is going on all the time in the life history. It discourages also the stepwise all or none saltatory conception of motivational progression towards self-actualization in which the basic needs are completely gratified. Right? Because we can have needs that are not completely gratified and still have others above that are. So it's, like I said, once you have one checked off, another one will drop down in its place, but it doesn't mean that it's only from the bottom up, although it is easier to reach the higher ones and focus more on the higher ones when you have more of the bottom ones checked off. Just go look at the care plan on the Patreon and you'll see what I'm talking about. It discourages also the stepwise, all or none. Wait, I already said that, sorry. One by one, before the next higher one emerges into consciousness, right? So as you check one off, another one will emerge into your brain or heart. Growth is seen then not only as a progressive gratification of basic needs to the point where they disappear, but also in the form of specific growth motivations over and above these basic needs. Talents, capacities, creative tendencies, constitutional potentialities. So constitutional as an inherent, right? Innate, affecting body and mind. What are your potentials, right? We are thereby helped also to realize that basic needs and self-actualization do not contradict each other any more than do childhood and maturity. One passes into the other and is a necessary prerequisite for it. Yes. I have explained many times deficiency needs, meaning if you're in a state of hunger or you're homeless, right, you are not probably going to worry about reading a book. If you're in a state of survival, you're probably not going to pick up a book, right? Or dream big, because you need to make sure your deficiency needs are supported, right? In order to have that higher level of thinking or desire. The differentiation between the growth needs and basic needs, which we shall explore here, is a consequence of clinical perception of qualitative differences. Quality, right? Qualitative. Between the motivational lives of self-actualizers and of other people. So, some people are good with their basic needs being met and never really, as long as they're held at a steady, my basic needs are met, they don't really care to keep going into who they could become, right? They just are good with the way things are. These differences listed below are fairly well, though not perfectly, described by the names of deficiency needs and growth needs. For instance, not all physiological needs are deficits. Sex, elimination, sleep, and rest. So they're not too small. You can keep having it without the need going away. And the more you have, it doesn't mean like you're not going to keep wanting it, right? Because it normally, they're irritating and undesirable and annoying needs. So these are not irritating, undesirable, and annoying, right? Sleep, elimination, sex, and rest, right? Well, I guess for some people they might be, but generally speaking. At a higher level, needs for safety, belongingness, love, and respect are all clearly deficits, right? Because if you're not getting those things, then they're going to really have an impact in your life. You're going to keep trying to make sure that box is filled, right? But the need for self-respect is a doubtful case. So I disagree with my boyfriend here, and I wish I could talk to him about it. Because I believe self-respect is part of radical self-love, and that's where it all starts. In order to have those things like belongingness, love, and respect from other people, we have to give that to ourselves first. And so we are not codependent and relying on them to fulfill those needs. We're relying on ourselves, and then we find our place in the community. And then we find someone that matches our love prerequisite of self-love. So there's no codependency between the relationship anymore. However, if there is, you can definitely match up with somebody who is the same, which often is the case. So you'll end up narcissist and codependent, right? But the need for self-respect, oh yeah, I already said that. Sorry. Well, the cognitive needs for curiosity, satisfaction, yeah, and for system explanation can easily be considered deficits to be satisfied. So if you're curious, right, and wanting to understand. So as can also the hypothetical need for beauty, the need to create is another matter, as is also the need to express. Apparently not all basic needs are deficits, but the needs whose frustration is pathogenic are deficits. Clearly also the sensory satisfaction that Murphy has emphasized cannot be considered a deficit, perhaps not even needs at all, which again I do disagree with, because the sensory satisfactions can definitely be irritating, undesirable, and annoying for a large group of people, if not all people. So I think they interplay with our feelings, right? So Sacral Chakra. In any case, the psychological life of a person in many of its aspects is lived out differently when he is deficiency need gratification bent, and when he is growth dominated or meta motivated or growth motivated or self-actualizing. The following difference makes this clear. Okay, so like I said, well, if you're in the forest and you're running from a bear, you're not going to stop to read a book. And sometimes some people may, if they outrun the bear and they stop, they might just chill and still not read a book. And others eventually would want a book to read. If they stumbled upon the book, they would read the book, right? And it's not always about book. It could be books or education, but that's all part of it. I mean, learning, growth. So it could be like conscious creation, like creating art, right? They stop and they build a home and they got their physiological needs done, and eventually they start making art to make their home more beautiful. Other people would be okay with it just being a home, shelter, right? So, attitude towards impulse rejection, and impulse acceptance. Practically all historical and contemporary theories of motivation unite in regarding needs, drives, and motivating states in general as annoying, irritating, unpleasant, undesirable, as something to get rid of. Right? That's what motivates you, is to get rid of it, basically. This is one theory. Motivated behavior, goal-seeking, consumeratory responses are all techniques for reducing these discomforts. So consumeratory meaning coming to a state of perfection, unity, right, within yourself. The attitude is very explicitly assumed in such widely used descriptions of motivation as need reduction, tension reduction, drive reduction, and anxiety reduction. This approach is understandable in animal psychology and in behaviorism, which is so heavily based upon work with animals. It may be that animals have only deficiency needs. Whether or not this turns out to be so, in any case, we have treated animals as if this were so for the sake of objectivity. A goal object has to be something outside the animal organism so that we can measure the effort put out by the animal in achieving this goal. It is also understandable that the Freudian psychology should be built upon the same attitude towards motivation, that impulses are dangerous and to be fought. After all, this whole psychology is based upon experience with sick people who in fact suffer from bad experiences with their needs and with their gratifications and frustrations. It is no wonder that such people should fear or even loathe their impulses, which have made so much trouble for them and which they handle so badly, and that a usual way of handling them is repression. I'll go more into it, just wait. I don't know how to say this word right now. This derogation of desire and needs has, of course, been a constant theme throughout the history of philosophy, theology, and psychology. The Stoics, most hedonists, practically all theologians, many political philosophers, and most economic theorists have united in affirming the fact that good or happiness or pleasure is essentially the consequence of amelioration of this unpleasant state of affairs, of wanting, of desires, of needing, right? So once it's gone, then we'll be good. Just the desire and wanting itself. To put it, I mean, obviously, because you have gratified the need. This contention is sometimes an accurate report of what is the case. The psychological needs, the needs for safety, for love, for respect, for information, are in fact often nuisances for many people. Psychic troublemakers and problem creators, especially for those who have had unsuccessful experiences at gratifying them and for those who cannot now count on gratification. So he says it right there, like, I know he's going to say this isn't so, but the psychological needs, right? Well, the love, right? Or physiological needs, he says, not psychological. He's just going up the ladder. Physiological is the bottom row. The needs for safety is the next. For love, for respect, right? Those are like in that whole ego area. The respect could be in the lower level, but with community, yeah. But the for love, for respect, that's all radical self-love if we do it right, which he doesn't focus on because he seems to think that's not, that just comes as part of someone who is still getting their needs met from others because you're part of the community and feel that respect coming in. But again, that's still codependency if you're relying on others to fulfill those needs. those needs. So it's better for you to fulfill them first. Radical self-love is the way to go. Maslow. He needs a spanking. Just kidding. Okay. Even with these deficiencies, however, the case is very badly overdrawn. One can accept and enjoy one's needs and welcome them to consciousness if A, past experiences with them has been rewarding, B, if present and fruitful gratification can be counted on, future, I don't know why I said fruitful, but either way, same difference. For example, if one has in general enjoyed food, and if good food is now available, the emergence of appetite into consciousness is welcomed instead of dreaded. I don't know why I just thought of this, but it's kind of funny. Like, in the middle of the night, if all of a sudden you wake up and you have to go to the bathroom, you're like, I have to pee and I don't want to get up. Yeah, kind of same difference. Like, I mean, it's not the same difference. It's like before it's not as an annoyance, but now it is. Other needs gratifications like eating really good food obviously is not the same of having to go pee, but it's still about the fact of the level of annoyance or the level of appreciation, right? So if you get to have some really good food when you're hungry, then you're like, woohoo, I have an appetite, right? Or maybe you won't eat all morning or afternoon because you know that you're going to have amazing food later. So you want to like save up. The trouble with eating is that it kills my appetite. So once you eat, you no longer have an appetite. And even if you no longer have an appetite because you're full, if it's really good food, some may continue eating dessert. Something like this is true for thirst, for sleepiness, for sex, for dependency needs, and for love needs. However, a far more powerful refutation of the need is a nuisance theory is found in the recently merging awareness of and concern with growth, self-actualization, motivation. The multitude of idiosyncratic, why can't I say words today again? Syncratic motives. The multiple, oh my God, so funny. The multitude of idiosyncratic motives, which come under the head of self-actualization can hardly be listed since each person has different talents, capacities, and potentialities. But some characteristics are general to all of them, and one is that these impulses are desired and welcome, are enjoyable and pleasant, that the person wants more of them rather than less, and that if they constitute tension, they are pleasurable tensions. Pleasurable tensions. The creator originally welcomes his creative impulses, right? The talented person enjoys using and expanding his talents. It is simply inaccurate to speak in such instances of tension reduction, implying thereby the getting rid of an annoying state, for these states are not annoying. However, I feel they can be still annoying if you do not follow through with them. There's still an itch. So, like my painting, right? I mean, I know it's taken a long time because that's how I am doing it. It's okay with me for it taking so long. I do it when I want to, when I have the urge to. But it takes so long to paint such a little portion of it that it does get annoying, like if I'm looking at it and I want to do it, but I know I don't have time to. So that can be annoying. So, Yeah, I think we're going to save differential effects of gratification for tomorrow on Freaky Friday. Go ahead and get your freak on. Self-actualization, conscious creation, in all you think, do, say, wear, expressions of your true, authentic self. Yes, Freaky Friday is the fun day. I love fun days. I mean, I know this is so fun, but it's needed. Yes, it is needed. And I am going to continue with our music on the way out. Thank you all for being with me today. Thank you for liking, commenting, and sharing, and donating. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. Or you can email me. It's under the description. Thank you so much. I love you all. Oneness. Ciao, ciao.